Okay, hello everybody. I am the pie maker. My co-caster tonight is Crafty Devil. Thank you for being here tonight.
Sure.
Yeah, so tonight we are actually casting a play-in game for the playoffs. This is a Div.2 game for the Thursday night league. And so the Thursday night's Div.2 league actually has quite a bit more teams in it than I think the Tuesday night league does. So there's actually quite a few Div.2 play-in games for their matchups. But the matchup tonight is between Small Cat Heroes and Try Hard Titans. And let me make sure that I have the Small Cat Heroes. Big Dizzles. Okay, good. They're on the right sides. But Small Cat Heroes, I just put it in there, I'm ready. Small Cat Heroes came in, I think, with a 4-3 record, so they came in late, but pulled out the 4 wins necessary to make it into the playoff. While Try Hard Titans came in with a 4-5 record. So I think they've been in the whole season. And so this will be kind of a matchup between 2 4-win teams. And the winner of it makes it into a playoff slot. But it's kind of, you know, best of 3, single elimination kind of style. So the map is Brax's Holdout. So what kind of heroes are you expecting to see here?
So with Brax's Holdout, what you really need to lock in is a strong solo laner. The reason for that is if you can maintain control of the the top objective, it allows your 4-man to not have to play as aggressive. They can kind of pick their fights. They can do a little poke damage, go back, heal up, and then go in when they have a more advantageous engage.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, kind of the standard way to play it right now is the 1-4. That's what you see most popular. It's interesting though, in a pro meta, you'll see kind of like this hybrid 2-3 that's happening a lot now. And we've got a quick KT response ban to the Dahaka ban. That might just be that they haven't had enough time to get familiar with it, or they have played him enough to think that he's quite a bit of a threat on this map. Because one of the other things I was going to say is, like, the great things to have on this map also are, you know, great sustain heals and sustain fight damage for your 4-man, because you're going to be in a lot of skirmishing and a lot of zone control. And that is one thing that KT brings a lot. He has really great mana efficiency and a lot of great zone control.
It's also not uncommon to see the heroes that have just recently been released to be top bans. I mean, that was the case with Genji, that was the case with Lucio as well. And a lot of times, the playstyles players really aren't comfortable with yet. They don't quite understand how to play with them, so there's a little bit of hesitation to pick that hero. And there's also people don't know how to play against them yet, and there's a lot of combinations that it's hard to predict is going to occur. So sometimes it's just best to just get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. So we see a Rhaegar first pick. We're seeing this a lot, actually, in the HCC with the nerfs that came in for the Ariel and the Uther and the changes that have happened to the healer meta. They've kind of taken Rhaegar is kind of top amongst the healers. I kind of worry about Rhaegar on a map like Braxis Holdout because, you know, he's kind of more of a burst healer, a non-mana efficient burst healer, which, as I was saying earlier, a hero like Ariel that now Small Cat Heroes has taken, provides a lot more sustained heals, and obviously she's quite mana efficient because she uses no mana at all.
Now, of course, the downside though to that, with Ariel needing a battery, of course they've already selected Vala, but you know, Rhaegar is usually seen in a lot of dive compositions, a lot of blow up, because as a support he does bring a little bit of burst damage there. If they can get rid of that Vala early on, the Ariel has really no hope generation, and that team fight's lost for them.
Yeah, and I mean, with what Small Cat Heroes has now shown, Tryhard Titans is going to want to go for the burst, and we're already starting to see a lot of bursts with the Jaina.
Yes, new Jaina, I am ready.
And the Greymane, so they're going to end this fight quickly, ideally for them.
Jaina Greymane goes in with what I was saying with the Rhaegar. Their hope is we are going to destroy that Vala before this ever becomes a sustained fight.
Yeah, well, and you know quite well, this new Jaina is quite powerful, and I really like on this map the pardon me, I really like the what is it, her frozen wand thing?
Icebound wand or something.
Icebound wand, the level 7 talent that gives the cooldowns on the Blizzard, because she's going to get quite a lot of wave clear potential on this map, which wave clear, we didn't talk about it yet, but wave clear is really big considering the objective. So I really kind of like going down that build pathway with the Jaina, because it provides a lot of like constant wave clear, burst potential, zone control, which is a lot of what they're going for here. And we see the Garrosh ban and the TAS being hovered.
Garrosh is a hero that's been seeing a lot of success on Braxis, being that the lanes are so short. Really, if he hits you with his Groundbreaker into a fling, he can take you from the objective and throw you right on top of their towers. It's extremely dangerous on Braxis.
Yeah, this is, you know, probably one of his stronger maps, just due to how heavy of a skirmish potential he brings.
Cho'Gall! Oh, yes!
And the Cho'Gall comes out. That was clearly not expected by Tryhard Titans there. They were fully expecting to be potentially facing the Trinity with the Tassadar ban. However, you know, the insta-lock from Small Cat Heroes with the Cho'Gall indicated they had very different plans, which I like the Cho'Gall pick on this map. It's a 2-lane map. Cho'Gall brings a lot of body presence, and now they are going to be a very long, sustained skirmish composition over here for Small Cat Heroes.
One criticism though for the Cho'Gall pick, they've taken Cho'Gall into a Greymane, who I'm sure will go Cursed Bullet at this point, and they've also allowed for 2 more picks to come in to allow for a counter pick on heroes towards Cho'Gall.
That's true. What I think happened was their game plan going in, what they prepared for this week, was a Cho'Gall and Braxis holdout, and the only way you can get that is to pick the map, and then you have to take Cho'Gall with the 3-4 because you're never going to get him with the 4-5 that way. And it was like you said, now that allowed for the Leoric last pick. And the thing is, I don't know how they're going to play this, but the solo laner might be the Leoric. But the the Leoric might also just go with the Cho'Gall lane.
So another issue that they have is the blue team still needs to take their solo laner, and they still need an additional tank to go with the Cho'Gall. So even if they send Leoric top, they may still win that matchup, even if Leoric doesn't chase Cho'Gall and bot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be an interesting last pick.
Well, I apologize, IJ Solar. I thought for some reason it was just hitting any frosted minions worked, but apparently the Icy Talon only works on heroes.
It only works on heroes.
Lucio is interesting. You know, you used to see this a while back, the Lucio Cho'Gall, because at level 16, Lucio gets, what is it, Rejuvenessa? Or I can't...
Highmaker, who's the solo laner? Bala?
Oh, that is a very good question.
Or are they going to do a 3-2 with Cho'Gall being part of the 3?
I mean, they might do a Lucio Vala and then a Cho'Gall Ariel. I'm not entirely sure what their game plan is here. I mean, I can't... I mean, they also could solo lane the Lucio, but that would be terrible because his wave clear would never keep up. They'd never get the top shrine.
Now, I'm not entirely familiar with Lucio. Doesn't he get a talent at 13 or 16 where he heals off of % health?
That's what I was talking about. The Lucio Cho'Gall synergy is that at level 16 he gets, I think it's called Rejuvenessa or something like that, where it's % healed based. And so when he procs his E, I think is when it works, they get a lot of % based healing, which obviously synergizes fantastically with Cho'Gall and is almost assuredly why they went to Lucio here.
Absolutely.
I think the big thing that'll matter here is how they end up playing the solo lane now and how they end up doing their splits here. But we are into the map, and so on the left side we have Small Cat Heroes with Zizix on the Vala, Lifethorn on the Lucio, Gallic on the Ariel, and then our duo here, Pauldrell on the Cho'Gall.
And for Tryhard Titans, we have Reezy on... Who is that? Is that Arthas?
It's Arthas, yeah.
That skin is amazing.
I know, I like it.
Leficus on Greymane, Big Dizzle on Leoric, Crooks on Rhaegar, and your buddy on Jaina.
So it looks like they are doing the Ariel Cho'Gall and Vala Lucio. So it'll be interesting. So they're going to do a kind of... they're sticking with the 1-4 for Tryhard Titans. So, and especially with the Leoric, they should be able to keep up with the Cho'Gall pressure. The question will just be if they need to end up rotating up to help the Arthas at some point, because the Vala Lucio will be able to push pretty hard.
He will absolutely need assistance up there. His mobility is his limiting factor, and he's playing not only with low mobility, but against a Lucio who brings even more to the table.
Why, thank you for the follow, Big Wiz. Yeah, so, you know, so far, it seems like the 3-man is holding down bot, but the Cho'Gall is losing quite a lot of health and having a hard time sustaining. But meanwhile, you know, the top is getting pushed in quite hard. So it's kind of a trade-off that these teams have made. I think in a lot of ways...
Jaina's heading top.
Okay, they were going to need that. And that's going to be a great synergy, the Arthas Jaina. We'll see how that plays out. And they've got so much pressure down bot now. Looks
Jaina's
like
in trouble.
The Vala was not ready for the rotation. But it looks like she made it out and is going to have a chance to heal up. So now that it's a 3v3, let's see if this Cho'Gall is going to be able to get any work done. It's still going to be hard going into the Leo Greymane, but oh, and they are just, this Cho'Gall is taking so much damage. You know, one thing that's going to be hard is they've gone this Cho'Gall Ariel after the level 7 nerf to the Ariel, which specifically made this combo work, that being the Bursting Light. Because without that cooldown reduction, you're never going to be able to maximize that healing potential that they get out of it.
The new Leoric is also so powerful. I mean, the changes that have been made to him are amazing.
Yeah, no, this is a very powerful hero right now. He has taken a lot of pressure, but it looks like he's just going to heal up just fine and get out of there. For right now, the Cho'Gall is able to hold the point, and the Leo is getting pretty low, but yeah, and eventually he just drops too low and can't sustain. Oh, and he almost goes down there. That would have been quite devastating. But it looks like the Vala Lucio is able to hold up top for now. And with having the Lucio up there, that provides a lot of sustain that'll be helpful. Thank you for the follow. Oh, and the Vala goes down. I was about to say they're both getting quite low, but if they can finish off the Vala here, they'll have you know, quite a beneficial moment here. But it looks like the Cho'Gall Ariel was able to win over the bot lane as soon as the Arthas Jaina was able to win over the top lane.
Yeah, Jaina talent choices. I mean, she's really going in for not letting people out and allowing herself to be in more. She's taken Frost Armor, which isn't a talent that you've usually seen at level 4 for her. She's also taken her new Lingering Chill to increase the slow from 4 to 6 seconds.
So she's going, like you said, relatively defensive against auto attacks. I guess that must be in response to the Vala.
Well, it's working for her.
It looks like right now they're just kind of skirmishing down here, and you know, it's like we were talking about earlier. I just do not think this Cho'Gall is going to be able to keep up with the Leoric damage output.
One of the other things that this bot lane is having difficulty with is Ariel isn't getting any hope generation unless Cho'Gall is able to deal damage, so he has to be in the middle of the fight in order to get heals from her, and every time he's forced out, it puts them in a worse and worse position.
To their benefit, though, this Vala Lucio combo, though, has been able to hold the top this entire time. All it'll take, though, is just one burst to kill this Vala Lucio combo. Oh, and this might be it right there, speak of the devil. So now they're going to regain the top. So the question is the Cho'Gall Ariel down here going to be able to recapture the bottom, or are we going to see our first phase? And it looks like we're going to get our first phase. So I'm imagining they're going to rotate the Cho'Gall up to provide some extra wave clear. And it looks like they're just going to solo the Lucio bot. Oh no, they're bringing the Vala down too. I would think this W build Vala would want to be up here for the wave clear.
Another interesting thing is to see Leoric has invested his 1 and 4 talent choices in something other than Drain Hope.
Yeah, considering the fact that they're facing a Cho'Gall, that is quite surprising. Although I will admit, of all of the new hero reworks, I know the least about the Leoric, so I don't know. I can't really comment too much about why he might have chosen to go that way. We do see from the Jaina here's the name, Ice Fury Wand.
Ice Fury one? Yes.
So they did get the Leo down pretty low, and they're able to hold up here with the Cho'Gall Ariel. Meanwhile, the Lucio Vala are kind of bullying the Jaina down here.
So I want to point out something major on this map that occurred. So it may feel like Red Team didn't get as much value as they wanted out of the top lane push, but the reality is they did take that top well, and that puts Blue Team at a huge disadvantage in that lane, having to go all the way back basically to their Nexus in order to pick up a well.
Yeah. Well, and as per requested, some people wanted to see the Leo stats. We can see right now he's dishing out not quite Greymane level damage right now, but quite a bit of hero damage, which, you know, it won't be surprising if Leo's stats are comparable, if not, you know, end up leading the game in the end.
Yeah, I would not be surprised at all if they exceeded.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much value from Drain Hope against high health targets like Cho'Gall or Diablo.
Yeah. It looks like we've just returned to the same 3-2, the Vala Lucio versus the Jaina Arthas, and then the Cho'Gall RL versus the Leo Rhaegar Greymane. I mean, for the side of Tryhard Titans, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Alright. It's good philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like the beacons are reactivating.
You know, despite this difficult matchup here early, Small Cat Heroes really are hanging in here for this. And the thing is, they're going to scale well. Cho'Gall scales hard.
Absolutely. He has one of the most impactful 20 talent power spikes in the game.
Mm-hmm. We just saw the brand new March of the Black King. Not brand new, but the altered March of the Black King. Tens of hit, and the ultimate doesn't hit here. But yeah, see, that's another problem. Oh, and I missed the skirmish down bot here. Looks like there was an exchange of hero deaths down bottom, and now we're going to have a Jaina versus Vala. And I'd be careful if I was the Vala. She... Oh! The dodge there, and almost ended up getting the kill on the Jaina, but the Jaina ended up
Ancestral goes off just in time.
So we're getting quite a lot of action going on up here now.
Cho'Gall actually, after hitting 10, bullying top lane out.
And it does look like the Ariel is going the Aegis. I like that. You'll see a lot of times with the Cho'Gall what's the word I'm looking for? Resurrection. But I really think just the... oh, and so close to getting the Leo kill there, but not quite. It's been the second time that Leo's gotten away with just a split bar of health. But a lot of times you'll see the Resurrection, but I think the Aegis just provides so much like in-battle potential that I really think it's still the way to go.
Well, I have to put some props to Leficus. He has already completed his cocktail quest. Sub 10 minutes.
And that's working with less bodies in his lane too because of the Cho'Gall.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like they're trying to target that well, which is smart, since they don't have their well for the sustain. As we were talking about earlier, sustain is like king on this map.
Now, other options that the red team has here in the top lane is if you're having too much trouble bursting down the Cho'Gall, sometimes it's best to just completely ignore him and try to take out his healer.
Right. When it looks like, meanwhile, down bot, the Jaina goes down again.
But not before finishing the Zerg wave.
It looks like they're just splitting their 3-2 again. So it looks like their game plan is to use the Cho'Gall to wave clear the Zerg wave, and it looks like it's working just fine.
Well, after the beginning of the first objective, red team was a little slow to get top to push with it, and it looks like this time they've also made the decision not to push with it either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those Zerg waves are powerful, but it does need a little extra pressure from your team.
Yeah.
In this case, the well's not even taken.
Yeah, and it looks like they're putting a lot of pressure on the Vala Lucio top, but they're not getting any structural damage for it. In fact, the Cho'Gall Ariel is counter pushing down bot and getting quite a bit of structural counter push. You know, it would be nice for this Cho'Gall Ariel as these these talents, the bombs away starts to really hit hard towards the late game.
Absolutely.
And as they continue to hit these, it's going to start to slam them later. And that poke damage on a map like this, where sustained poke is so powerful, is going to be really nasty, especially if this kind of dive burst heavy team that they've got going on the side of Tryhard Titans isn't able to get kills quickly enough. When the Vala rotates down and ends up getting the Leo kill. And it looks like they're going to target the well, as we were talking about earlier, as a high priority.
Absolutely. Despite Drain Hope being active for the full duration on that Cho'Gall, he's just pumping up so much damage. Late game Cho'Gall is coming out.
Yeah, I like now that they're able to group. So they're missing top soak, but it's kind of gotten to the point in the game where some team rotations can come in, and I think a lot of their power is going to come when they're able to kind of rotate as a team and utilize the kind of Lucio synergy, especially once 16 hits. I think we're going to see their
I'm kind of surprised
that
they sent Vala Lucio top. They already have the camp pushing on its own. They would have benefited a lot from just skirmishing bottom longer.
Oh, and a beautiful Aegis to stop the Ring of Frost from hitting the Cho'Gall. The counter push, they did a 5-man dive here, invested quite a lot of heroics down to try and kill this Cho'Gall and didn't get it. So that's a major win for Small Cat Heroes there.
Just a quest update for viewers. Jaina is at 8,500 out of 15,000 for her ice block.
Yeah, and that'll be big. That scales, the damage that you get towards that scales quicker and quicker as the game goes on, so I imagine she'll be hitting that actually pretty shortly here, now that we've started to get later into the game. And that'll be big, because having that level of protection is quite huge for her. Small Cat Heroes has put a lot of map pressure up top, double camping the top side, which allows them kind of some free rotations. One thing with camps, the way you should utilize camps is you're always getting them to serve some objective, whether it's to supplement some kind of push, or whether it's to allow a rotation, an advantageous rotation.
Yeah, the time of greatest advantage with using your camps is when the objective is active. You want those camps walking to lane as the objective pops. That way you can sit there and play the waiting game against your opponent without having to fully commit to any sort of engage. And just let your camp do all of the work.
Now that we've hit 16, yeah, Rejuvenescencia, I don't know how to say it. Anyway, that's the one that we were talking about. And I think we're going to see a lot more of the Lucio with the Cho'Gall now that that's online.
I'm really excited to see Leoric's new Ominous Wraith coming out. That's the one where it extends his Wraith walk by 100%, and then any enemies that he comes in contact with deal 50% less damage.
Oh, that is interesting, yeah.
If he can place that on the Cho'Gall, that's going to limit a lot of the hope generation and, of course, his damage.
Yeah, because the damage output of that Cho'Gall, this entire composition centers around it.
Although they do have the Vala as another hyper carry.
So this is quite an impactful push. They've gotten the keep. It looks like they're going for core. I think it's a bit bold, but if they get some kills here, they can continue to sustain and get them low enough and get kills off of the back end of it. That'll be big. Meanwhile, the ring goes down, only hits the Lucio. Ancestral hits just in time for the Arthas. The Cho'Gall ult hits, doesn't get too many people in it. The Greymane is getting really low. The Vala is going after him. Both Arthas and Greymane low. Looks like they're pushing in on the core. They're going to be able to heal up. The Leoric is going to try and go in and die in the meantime. The Arthas needs to be quite careful. It looks like they are going to at least get a good chunk of core damage here down, if not win the game here. Tryhard Titans is going to need to regroup quickly if they want to win this out, but it looks like they're backing out. They're going to be content with their 35%. That, or they're just trying to get an advantageous team fight away from the core and then poke back in, which looks like what they're trying to do. And they do get the Arthas kill, with Leo down for this long and it down at 30%, this much siege available on the side of Small Cat Heroes, I think this is game. And that is indeed GG for Small Cat Heroes with the unexpected, or maybe perhaps expected, Cho'Gall comp. Here's the talents that they all ran. Just to kind of look over the Jaina talents. It does look like she went kind of a into her Blizzard kind of build with both the Stormfront and the Ice Fury wand. With the Frost armor that we were talking about that gives that physical armor at level 4. With how much sustained poke and kind of ability power damage that was coming in, I kind of wonder if she would have gotten more benefit from perhaps more of a poking talent with her Q talent at level 4, or since she didn't go a mana talent at level 1, I wasn't able to keep track of how well she was able to keep up with
Jaina
that.
usually does run into mana issues, especially in the early game, which is why you usually see a mana talent taken at either 1 or 4. Instead, I think that she was afraid of the amount of damage that was going to come her way. So she wants slows to last longer. She wants the armor from Frost armor. I expected her to take the talent that gives her shields based off of the damage that she deals later on.
Yeah. And it was like we were saying early on, the the side of Tryhard Titans. Let me put in the win real quick. By the way, start match. And that was won by Small Cat Heroes, correct? Yes, the Cho'Gall. Yes.
Another talent choice. Gaul took Twisting Nether, which isn't often seen. It's kind of a really underrated level 10. Most people take the one that fires out a billion blasts, but Twisting Nether does provide a lot of value, especially if you are going to be in the middle of their team.
Yeah.
And with the slowing ability and the dash from Gaul, or the dash from Cho, that's actually really easy to do.
Oh, but yeah, early on, like we were saying, the kind of more burst-oriented comp on the side of Tryhard Titans was winning out, and Small Cat Heroes had to withstand several objectives and Zerg waves won by the side of Tryhard Titans. But in the end, the Cho'Gall was able to scale throughout the game, and when they finally hit the level 16 for the Lucio synergy, the side of Tryhard Titans just could not keep up with the poke that was coming in.
Well, I don't think that they ever expected as much damage to come out as happened. And Leoric, I don't know if you noticed at that last team fight, but Leoric went in and immediately dropped down to 25%. He had to ult just to stay alive, and then still ended up going down. When you have heroes like Leoric, landing the Drain Hope, landing March of the Black King, and still going down in the middle of those fights, that is a lot of damage to have to deal with.
Yeah.
Especially versus a team that has not, one high sustain healer, but 2.
Yeah. No, it was... let me put it in there. Ready? It was an impressive level of damage that was coming out from the Cho'Gall towards the end. And I really think it comes down to, as you have a skirmish-oriented fight like that, like Braxis is, you have a lot of opportunity to hit those rune bombs and to hit their questing talents. And those are some questing talents that if you're hitting them, scale really hard.
And
if
Braxis
you're
is a great map for questing talents.
Mhm.
It's one long team fight.
So it looks like we are heading into Cursed Hollow. This map pick is that of Tryhard Titans. So let's see if they have anything prepared, kind of like the Cho'Gall preparation for Braxis that Small Cat Heroes had. We see the KT ban again, so I think it means that rather than them thinking the KT was specifically powerful on Braxis, they just aren't wanting to deal with KT right now. They're not prepared to play him, and they don't want to play against him.
I think that's probably accurate. Just to mention for the map Cursed Hollow, I actually really think that this is an interesting map because there's so much variation in the type of compositions that you can see here.
Mhm.
And you can have global sort of like macro pressure comps, you can have dive comps, you can have sustain comps. I mean, this is a map that really allows a team to get really, really specific in what they want to do.
Thank you for the follow, Daniel King. Yes, I love Cursed Hollow, specifically for that reason.
Whereas, like to compare to Braxis, where it's pretty simple. You have to have really good team fighty compositions. You need to have sustain.
Mm-hmm.
There's not that much wiggle room in sort of compositions that you can run.
Yeah, there is a lot of flexibility in what you can do here, and you can see. I don't know if you were able to see this, but side of Tryhard Titans was rotating between banning either the Abathur or the Dahaka. And I think both are very solid bans on this map because you see one really powerful strategy here is split push, delaying the objective as long as possible, getting as much of a level advantage as you can, which both Dahaka and Abathur serve that purpose extremely well. And also, this is such a large map that global presence really provides a lot of benefit.
Anubarak coming out as the first pick. This is a fantastic first pick, not necessarily because Anubarak is still, I mean, he is still great, but he has suffered a couple nerfs. This doesn't tell Red Team anything about the type of composition that they're going to run. It's a very safe first pick. He's a very good hero, pretty much regardless, with the ability to web, with the chain CC that he brings out. And so it allows for them to sort of see, what are you guys going to run? And then we can counterpick that.
And Stitch's Greymane. Quite an interesting follow-up. So I'll be interested to see how they lead into this. Whether they're using Stitches. So, I mean, there's two ways to kind of run the Stitches. I think the most common is to at least provide some Stitches follow-up. But then sometimes people just like to run Stitches as a primary warrior. He provides ranged CC, essentially, with his micro stun of a hook that
especially
also displaces.
Versus a revealed enemy who is channeling on the objective.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, regardless of how good you are at throwing pulls, if they're not moving, that's pretty easy to land.
It's interesting. We've seen no healers with 2 bans and 3 picks. So I think the days of first pick healing, at the very least, these teams are not high prioritizing that. The Tassadar Malfurion, so they're definitely going hyper carry now. They've revealed their hand on the side of Small Cat Heroes. The question is, what hyper carry? Are they going a Tracer? Are they going a Zul'jin? Are they going a Vala? We see
those all play very differently.
They do. We see the Abathur hover ban again. I kind of, were I the side of Tryhard Titans, unless Abathur isn't a composition that they run, would love to see the Abathur with them. But with already having a Greymane, they have a fantastic Abathur hat / clone target.
I think that what they're doing here is they've made the decision, we really like team fighting. We want to build a team fighting team, and we want to get rid of those globals who are going to make us have to split everything up and send someone to another lane to stop the push. But it looks like they might be getting a little scared of the possible Vala hyper carry.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, they're picking which carry they don't want to go against. It looks like they actually end up choosing the Illidan. That's nice. It both eliminates a Tacitor target hyper carry as well as eliminating a potential global for this map, which we talked about how powerful that is. Also, Illidan provides a lot of boss fighting potential, which on this map, your ability to control a boss is very important. Um,
Boss control is huge on maps with 2 bosses.
They go with the Varian ban. You know, that really leads me to think that they're going the Tracer. Almost 100% on the side of Small Cat Heroes. So where I try hard Titans, I would be wanting to make sure that my 3-4 pick at least accounts for that. I would say in the back of my mind, okay, if a Tracer is incoming, what heroes would
Maker, how do you
complement
counter
me?
a Tracer then?
Well, Varian obviously is a great counter. Genji's a fantastic counter. So I would love to see just a straight up Genji Abathur right now. Trying to think of some other. I mean, some auto attack heroes are pretty good. Greymane's not terrible. Medivh counters Tracer really hard. Zarya can, to an extent, counter Tracer really hard. Rhaegar's nice. What you want is burst healing, burst shielding. Her kit is very burst
Cassia.
heavy. So they do go Cassia instead of the Tracer, which I like with them having shown the Greymane. I mean, I'm all
Oh,
for it.
Greymane and Sonya.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
One thing I find interesting, though, I find the Malfurion pick curious. Especially, they show the Stitches. I'm assuming it had to be a denial pick, but the thing is, like, Malfurion is really bad into Stitches comps because he can't provide that burst heal that you need to provide protection to the Stitches hook target.
Well, at 20, he becomes a beast. Blink into a silence.
Oh yeah, that's nice because a lot of Stitch's counter is dive, which obviously we see a lot of heavy dive on the side of Small Cat Heroes. Um,
So one thing I'll point out about Blue's draft here is one of the main counters to his Stitch's composition is his job is to pull one of your heroes into his team and then they blow them up. So all you have to do is take a team that jumps on top of them. So Stitches lands a pull on Malfurion, Stitches lands a pull on Cassia. It doesn't matter. Anubarak and Diablo are both right on top of the team to protect their hyper carry.
yeah. I'll be interested to see what this last pick is to kind of close out this. I'm thinking damage, probably at this point, unless it is a some kind of secondary support.
I was gonna say I would have loved to see a mage come out.
Yeah, I think Li Ming was a great follow-up. Really, I would have loved to have seen a mage that brings some CC for the Cassia, like maybe a KT, or I mean a Kale. That's going to be so confusing now. But I'm still happy to see the Li Ming. Li Ming gets a lot of value in Cursed Hollow. I think, save for maybe Towers of Doom. This is one of my favorite maps for him. Thank you for the follow. And the reason being that I say that is she gets a lot of poke potential on the curse. So if, say, you want to split someone off to get some soak, or you need a moment to regroup or something, she has a lot of great poke potential, and people have to try and get up to a point. And anytime someone needs to get up and stand in a point, she gets great value because she can just sit there and continue to barrage on them, which is great.
Piemaker, what Tassadar ult do you think we're going to see this game? I normally would say Wall gets a lot of value because of all these little like tight corridors and hallways on this map, but if you already have a composition built around going in on top of their team, there's really no point in walling. Do you think he's going to take Archon?
It could be the Archon. However, I see the Tassadar Diablo, which makes me think probably Wall, because the synergy of the dive into a wall is just too good, and with all of the like tanky front line that they're
For
showing.
for those who don't know, Tassidar's force wall counts as terrain for Diablo's dash stun to proc off of.
So we're seeing our standard kind of 5-on-5 skirmish here in the middle. The Diablo is getting quite low. The Greymane dives in and is able to lock it down. The Anubarak is getting quite low himself, but is able to get
Slugfest.
away.
Both sides took a ton of damage.
They did. And the Cassia, getting a little bit of the aggression from the Greymane, but able to get away just fine. And it looks like everyone's splitting off. We're going to have the Sonya solo fighting bot against the Anubarak with the Greymane versus Tassadar top and just our 3v3 here in the middle.
All talent choices right now are pretty typical.
I lied.
Oh,
Rhaegar
Cassie
actually
in
came
trouble
down.
mid lane.
She got quite low. In a
Yeah, very
2v3
dangerous
too.
to push in on a Stitches with towers nearby.
We see a rotation to the top for a gank on the Greymane, and it looks like they're going to get it. That's one thing that's really fantastic to get, is kills on the solo lane, because it completely disrupts the rotations, everything for the opposing team, which is extremely powerful.
Now, red team did rotate someone up fast enough, but oftentimes if they're not prepared for that to occur, that's a whole wave lost and a kill for your team. It's a massive XP difference.
And a lot of times what you'll see also is just a heavy push on that lane 2 to get some structure damage and just pop back again, providing quite a bit of an XP lead. Meanwhile, we've had a sustained double push here in the bottom that Small Cat Heroes has not responded to, and there has been quite a lot of structure damage. We have one tower down, another tower with no shots left. The wall has taken damage. The Sonya has split off to grab the camp, while the Cassia, Malfurion have mirrored the other side. So both teams doing a good job with their camp management, trying to proc that right before the tribute spawns. Unlucky spawn for the side of Tryhard Titans, because what you want is for it to spawn away from your golems, because now what you see is these golems are going to push uncontested up here top while the skirmish happens down here bottom. So Tryhard Titans is going to want to win this fast, but it looks like we've got quite a skirmish going on here. The Diablo dives in deep, Sonya diving in. The Rhaegar is deep himself, but the Diablo goes down, the Cassia is low, and Nubarak's down, Cassia down, resets for Li Ming. Rhaegar is able to get out, and this is going to be a captured tribute with 3 down. Captured tribute for Tryhard Titans with 3 down on the side of Small Cat Heroes. But, as you can see, these golems up here that I was talking about are going to town. They have nearly destroyed a wall, they're going to get a tower, and the Greymane is going to get up here just in time to save the other tower, but, you know, quite a bit of value.
Meanwhile, poor Malfurion trying to defend this in bottom.
Cassia comes in finally to assist with this. It looks like the side of Tryhard Titans is grabbing their Bruiser camp. I really like that. This is excellent camp timing, because that'll be a lot of pressure while this is on yet again. While no camp grabbing for the side of Small Cat Heroes, so that might come into play if this fight lasts for too long.
I want to point out some Stitches talents you don't often say. This is Stitches' primarily tanky build. You see most Stitches nowadays going slam build. He's investing in additional healing.
That was a nice cleanse there on the Sonya to help the Sonya just make sure that she doesn't take too much unnecessary damage before this fight starts. With the Diablo getting quite low, dive from the Rhaegar to finish him off. Sonya gets low but is able to get out. The Cassia goes down again, and the Anubarak looks like he's not going to make it. And yet again, another 3-man kill for the side of Tryhard Titans.
Primark, I don't know if you noticed there, but the play of that team fight had to be from the Greymane, who completely zoned out blue team's Malfurion.
Yeah, that is one thing about getting to objectives on time in this map. Because of the way that the routes work out, you can get it zoned out very easily. Got Rhaegar getting some aggressive pressure, but if he's not careful, the Cassia can knock him down, but he makes it out. Thank you for the follow.
Shall we see who gathers enough tribute this time?
Okay, so we've got another tribute up. Looks like no teams were prioritizing kind of a split camp pressure for this tribute, so this is just going to be a skirmish. This is unfortunate because, you've got a 2-level lead. At least it's not a level 10 flip, but a 2-level lead for the side of Tryhard Titans, but you can't let them just have it to kind of split soak. You have to go in for this. So
This map can snowball very easily.
Stitches deep in the middle of their team, but it looks like the damage is mostly going down on Small Cat Heroes as Diablo goes down. A lot of aggression going down on the Cassia. She gets the shields, though, is able to turn around, get her back up to life. She turns heavily on the Li Ming, but she is deep in there. Meanwhile, Sonya gets turned on, diving hard. Tassadar nearly goes down. Oh, but the hook from downtown.
Beautiful.
Yes, brings him back into it. She's able to get out. The Cassia goes into the middle of the team. It's just 1v4ing right now. Gets 1 kill on the Li Ming, almost 2 on the Greymane.
Greymane stunned from Manubarak.
Yes, Greymane is trying to get it, but the Tassadar doesn't allow it with the Storm. Sonya goes down. Rhaegar looks like he's about to go down. And Tryhard Titans is going to have to back out of this. And
that is heartbreaking for Tryhard Titans. The chances are that both teams will have 10 by the time the next curse comes up.
This is a bold move. Pre-10, if this gets spotted out, this is a very ambitious move trying to take the enemy boss. It looks like right now, Tryhard Titans has no idea this is happening. But with them having level 10, okay, the Stitches just now sees it. And he hasn't procced his level 10 yet. Oh, and there it goes. And he just putrid biled, but he's going to die.
Boss and down their tank now.
Yeah. There just wasn't quite fast enough. They didn't see it in time to have a quick enough rotation in there. And they get away with the boss steal down level 10s. It was ambitious, but that paid off because now they're going to get all the time in the world to get their level 10s. And one thing is when you hit massive power spikes in the game, a big thing you need to do is prepare ahead of time to maximize that entire time you have the power spike in getting objectives, in getting siege damage, in getting something to push you towards the win, and instead they had to spend it defending a boss. And now that gave Small Cat Heroes the time to get level 10 before this tribute comes up. So we see kind of an interesting split here. The Stitches, Rhaegar down here trying to slow down the rotation, but the Cassia was able to poke it out and is going to stop the Li Ming from getting that. And Manubarak dives deep and is really zoning out this Li Ming, which is great. Sonya dives into the middle of them, but a 3-man silence from the Malfurion and the Cassia ult getting a ton of value. The Ancestral goes down in the Sonya, but it's just too much damage coming down as 3 go down on the side, make that 4. They were able to get the Cassia kill, but they just lost too much, and the second tribute is going to go over on the side of Small Cat Heroes. So now we've got a 2v2 tribute split and an even split 11-11. So we have an even game once again.
Next objective, one team's getting curse. It's going to be a huge turning point in this match.
Yeah. Depending on how that goes down, too, if it's on the back end of a one-team fight, that is going to be a massive momentum swing. This next fight is going to be so important because what you'll see is if it is on the back end of a one-team fight, you're going to get so much siege damage that you're going to have oftentimes approximately 2-level lead on the back end of it. So they have to be getting ready for kind of a pivotal showdown.
I think this was a good decision, trying to force that boss with the other team coming in looking for you. It's just too risky.
Okay, so here we go. Tournament lives on the line. 1 game down on the side of Tryhard Titans. And this fight is going to mean quite a lot towards this game. We see the Stitches brought into the middle of the team again. He ults on the back line, causing a lot of disruption. Cocoon goes down on the Li Ming. She's able to get out. I like that Cocoon target. A lot of aggressive damage. The Sonya dive. The silence, though, hits nearly the entire team of the side of Tryhard Titans. And the Greymane and the Rhaegar goes down. Now the Stitches goes down. Sonya's not going to be able to sustain on this. 4 men down. Small Cat Heroes is going to be able to get this tribute. Li Ming might even go down here if she's not careful, is able to get out. And now this is going to be 4 down with a curse for the side of Small Cat Heroes. Oh, and they head to boss. I don't know if I like this at all. I would definitely be getting siege damage. You want to get the boss on the back end. Unless you have almost gotten the boss. I mean, these are valuable seconds that they're losing right now.
Some interesting talent choices. Tassadar did end up going Archon for the extra damage. Sonya took Leap, which I was kind of surprised to see with as much CC and AoE damage coming from blue team. I would have expected Wrath of the Berserker.
Yeah, we are 20 seconds left on this curse, and they have allowed... I mean, they've gotten very little siege damage out of it. What they've essentially gotten is a boss that's going to have a 10-second advantage. Oh, but the Greymane goes down there. That's big. What I was about to say is all they've gotten is a boss, which should be pretty easy to defend. They're going in hard. They're going to be with a fort on their back end. A fort that's going to be aggroed on the boss, so that's fine.
So what you just saw there was a reason why a lot of teams will take Li Ming now to actually counter a new Barak. You saw the web come out on Stitches, and with her Disintegrate, it instantly ended that that web.
So, they invested heavily into getting this boss. They utilized their objective pressure in order to capture it. So let's see what they get with this boss. They're getting quite a lot of value. You know, I criticized the boss grab, but they've gotten a fort. They're pushing towards a keep. If they continue to get kills, like the Sonya going down there, they almost assuredly are going to get this keep now at this point. And if Tryhard Titans is not careful, this is going to snowball into game like we saw last game in Brax's Holdout, when they had an objective that they were pushing heavily with. They're going for the defense. The Stitches brings out his ultimate. The Cocoon is down on the Li Ming. She gets out, but she goes down on the back end of that.
Melted.
The boss is down, but they have now killed both the Li Ming and the Stitches. So we're going to see if the Tryhard Titans are able to hold this off. If they lose this, they're out of the tournament. So this is a make-or-break defense here for them. With 3 heroes out, waiting 10 seconds to get the Li Ming out. Looks like they're able to get the Diablo kill, so that's going to go solidly. Oh, it looks like we have someone who has left the game. Rhaegar goes down.
No one's called for a pause yet. There we go.
There's the pause. Yeah, so this is quite a tense moment. It looks like on the back end of this, Cassia, whom is the one, unfortunately, who DC'd, is about to...
Yeah, I was a little curious about that. I saw Cassia just run back and start hitting minions in the middle of that brawl.
Yeah.
Thought that was a little curious.
But I can't see the levels right now. I believe it's 15, almost 16 to 13. And so they're going to be a keep down. So that's a lot of pressure.
Piemaker, let's pull up the stats tab and take a look at who's dealing all of this damage.
Cassia is putting out an incredible amount of damage. This is how you run a hypercarry kind of composition.
Absolutely. She has such a great supporting cast. There's so much CC on that team. She has such great support between the Tassadar shields and the Malfurion healing. Not to mention the peels for the roots and all of that. I mean, she's really just having a heyday in these team fights.
Yep.
I honestly feel bad for the Stitches. He's got a really tough job to do here as a solo tank versus a Nubarak and Diablo. It's difficult to tank through that.
I hope both teams are ready. I saw the readies. Yeah, that is a quite a lot to contend with. So now they're just going to camp their way back. They've got the map control. They've got an entire level where they're going to have a talent advantage, a very impactful talent advantage. 16 is huge. So let's see what they do with it now that they've got control of the map. You know, I like that they're getting camps. They're just going to paint the map blue. If you're not very confident in your ability to kind of pressure siege positions, like maybe push mid or something like that, it's, you know, best to just kind of get aggressive map control. That way you can control opposing team rotations on the back end.
Looks like blue team's heading for top boss.
So, Tryhard Titans has level 16. They can definitely defend this. It'll be a question of, do they see this happening again? This is something that Small Cat Heroes pulled on them earlier, and it looks like they're still not going to spot it.
Well, the other thing too, Small Cat, I mean, they can take this fight. They have vision of Sonya and bot lane. They know it's going to be a while before she gets up there. Yeah, I think the top boss was a safe bet.
Yeah, and this is going to be the first time they realize boss is happening. That hurts. The Stitch is pushed into the middle of their team. Is able to ult out of there, but doesn't quite make it.
Lightning getting the final hit.
Yeah.
Ooh, missed Twilight.
Getting the Sonya out of there. They're going hard, losing 2 heroes, but the Stitches and the Sonya down. Boss is now on their top
They do have
key.
great heroes to be up, though. I mean, they've got Greymane and they've got Ming. They can burn that boss down.
Yeah. This is interesting. Ming has kind of gone this, you know, Firefly single target damage with her Q build, which, you know, relies heavily on hitting skill shots.
It can get a lot of value on here. You have a lot of those hallways where people line up, where you can just kind of stick them to go down, you know, one direction, and you will land all of them.
Okay. Tryhard Titans needs to, you know, get together, get and Small Cat Heroes gives them a little bit of a win there by making a bad rotation, giving them an opportunity to regroup and get down to the tribute and fight for this, because this is going to be their last one that they can fight for, and they need this tribute to give them an opportunity to catch up, because there's going to be a major moment for the opposing team. They get the hook on the Cassia. A major apocalypse hitting 3 people.
Man.
Rhaegar down. Healer's already up, but the Anubarak goes down. Stitch is getting low, though. Tassadar is almost down, and the back end of this, though, he goes down. Sonya dives in, is able to sustain. Oh, and there's resets now for the lead lane.
Beautiful Sonya play.
And Tryhard Titans is able to keep themselves in this by winning this out. They're going to get the tribute, which is going to give them Curse and the ability to gather themselves, attempt to get to level 20 at a similar time. Because what's about to happen is in very short order, there's going to be a pretty long level 20 flip on the side of Small Cat Heroes.
Now, one thing that they are going to have on their side, though, is their lanes, which have been all game pushed in, are finally going to be pushed out from having this curse available. They're going to have a lot more vision on map. They're going to be able to see those rotations to top boss that before they had no vision of.
So this is an interesting choice. Pre-20, they're going to force a fight. I generally do not like bosses during curses. I like bosses leading into curses, so like starting up a boss before you grab the curse, that's nice. But they're going to start a fight, forcing a fight pre-20. They know this is one of their only opportunities to get a fair fight. Li Ming gets cocooned, Anubarak is down. 3 down now on the side of Small Town Heroes.
Oh, lightning!
Oh, but Cassie is getting extreme value. Almost ended up getting 3 kills there, but
so close.
Tryhard Titans is able to pull it up, and this is what I was talking about. Now they're hitting 20 at almost the same time. There was a brilliant forced fight there.
That do this. They didn't give up. They went for the risky play.
Yeah, and I mean, everything is on the line here. I mean, like we were saying, they're down 1 game. If they had lost this game, they're out of the tournament. So there's a lot of pressure. You sometimes worry about some teams having nerves. and they are refusing to leave the tournament just yet. They're getting bot keep. They're going to try and snowball this
Beautiful.
into a core run, which might be a little dangerous. They're all coming up in 10 seconds, but if they can start to get enough damage down on this
Boss
core...
does have a decent amount of health left on it. I think this is going to have to be a straight core call, though.
Yes, they need to start hitting core immediately. With Li Ming down, they're going to need all their damage on it. They're getting a lot of damage down. With boss still on it, they're going to have to get the boss down. They definitely have gotten this.
By Jove, they've got it.
And GG to Tryhard Titans. It looked really bad for them for most of the game, but they pulled it out there with some brilliant play calling and some very gutsy calls. And when they hit the moments where this is the last chance left, they took advantage of it. It was, this is our last chance to win a tribute, and they got it. This is our last chance to force a fight. Right? They got it. We're going to a game 3.
Game 3.
Let me update this in Chairleague for y'all. Small Cat Heroes needs 4 on their roster. Oh, there we go. First hollow. Okay, gonna win for the side of Tryhard Titans. And I do believe we are going to Tomb of the Spider Queen, Game 3.
Did you say Tomb?
Mm-hmm. Well, this is interesting.
Tomb's another map that have a lot of Stitches comps with pretty good success. I wonder if they'll bust out Stitches again.
Mm-hmm. The overlay is not updating. No, we're not going to Tomb. Towers of Doom, there we go.
Hours of Doom, okay. So Towers of Doom is another game where you know, you're really never out of it. I know I've had games where we've had, you know, one health left on the core, and then just completely won out all of the objective.
Yeah.
And taken the game.
Yeah. It's interesting. This map is one where it's like you said, you're never out of it. Because the thing is, it goes to the late game. And it can shift hard at any point. Like, even if you have, like you said, just one on your core, the thing is, like, all it takes is to just gain control of the map and pull out that like triple, you know, take all of the bell towers and hold them, like, which is something that's very doable.
You know, you see a lot of heroes like Azmodan or Abathur can get some value on this map just off of, you know, if you keep the other team constantly rotating, taking back their bell towers, of course they're not channeling the objective.
Mm-hmm.
You think they'll ban KT again?
Yes, we will. We will see here. I have a suspicion that they will. If the first two games are any indication, I don't know if there's any respect bans that they want to pull out.
I half expected a Cho'Gall respect ban that last one.
Mm-hmm. Looks like they're just going to bust out the Ariel ban, not even deal with the potential for a Cho'Gall Ariel.
Mm-hmm.
Right off the bat.
I mean, that also gets rid of a lot of formats. That also gets rid of, you know, the Vala Trinity, the Zul'jin getting value, Lunara. Nope, they've switched it. They're going for Dahaka. Never a bad ban, really.
Sorry, y'all, not sure why the overlay's not updating. So the Greymane counter ban, the respect ban, has come in, switching from the KT ban to a respect ban, as we were talking about. What would be interesting is if Tryhard Titans now busts out the KT.
Maybe some research was done that we don't know about.
Could be. I mean, a lot of times when you see weird bans, which the KT ban's not a weird ban. I mean, he's new. He brings a lot of interesting things to the table, does a lot of damage, brings a lot of CC. If you're not ready to deal with that and you haven't prepared against it, just ban it out. Why worry about it? But a lot of times when you see weird picks, though, or weird bans, it means that teams have done their homework. Which, going into these playoffs, you have a whole season of research to do. And the first pick, Stitches. So hopefully we'll see some more of those exceptional hooks again. There were some max range hooks to pull in nearly dead targets that last game. That was really, a deciding factor in some of those team fights.
Absolutely. What will they take?
Yeah, I'll be interested. This map has a lot of different strategies you could go, but I mean, the big thing is kind of skirmishing. Obviously, because it's very team fight centric. You can't siege to win. If you discount the fact that you can just take down all bell towers and win. But that's
so if they're going with the dive. Yeah, again, Stitches pulls a target, your team just runs in chasing them. And Diablo and Rhaegar are two heroes that are just really, really effective at doing that.
Mm-hmm. So, Tryhard Titans has really highly prioritized the Rhaegar all throughout the draft, and we've seen Rhaegar both Game 1 and Game 2. So I'm curious to see who they pull out at healer.
With the Uther nerfs for a couple patches now, and just some other rebalancing, Rhaegar really is moving to the forefront of the support game.
Thrall Uther. So I like this. They already have a very kind of beefy frontline now with 3 kind of sturdy frontliners, whom also all bring very great Stitches hook follow-ups.
I love the Thrall Uther. Stitches gets a pull, the other team runs in, Thrall ulties, Uther ulties.
Yeah, and
perma-stun.
Another thing is, so far all they're showing is dive. So what do? You bring a lot of anti-melee heroes, which Thrall is fantastic for anti-melee. Uther is probably the best anti-dive healer because he's a very single target burst healing. So whoever they dive target, gets Uther healed, gets the armor, but he also has Divine Storm, which works fantastically. So I'm wondering how committed Small Cat Heroes is going to be going into the dive after seeing the Thrall Uther 2-3 from Tryhard Titans.
So a Li Ming ban.
So it looks like
Do you
they're
think
just
that they're
going
gonna-
kind of double respect ban off of the DPS from last game.
Well, is it that, or are they going to try to take a new Varrock here as well?
It could be. I mean, so far what they're doing is building into the same composition they had last time. Well, I mean, they have the Diablo. So kind of general comp idea. It's like I said, it'll be interesting now that they've shown the Thrall Uther, a different style of counter to what they were doing, if they're going to continue down into the dive path.
I wonder if they'll take Tass, a new Varrock here on the flip.
Mm-hmm.
Do the same as they did last game and hide their hyper carry for the end.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I still wouldn't be opposed to a new Barak, and new Baraks are great against Stitches. For a number of reasons. Cho'Gall!
Again!
Oh!
Yes.
Now the question is, do they let the Ariel through, or do they go like an Ariel Vala here? I think were I the side of Tryhard Titans, I'd be like, okay, nope, Ariel Vala right now. Or
Ariel Vala would work. You've got the Vala Ariel Uther combo with the Stitches as a tank. He can take Gord to deal with the Cho'Gall. You've got Thrall as your solo laner. It works.
Mm-hmm. Now, granted, the side of Small Cat Heroes has shown that they like to go to Lucio as well and just play for the level 16 late game. So it could even be if you take the Ariel. But the thing is, Cho'Galls and Diablo are going to have a hard time without some kind of extra heals.
I mean, as great as Rhaegar is, I just don't think he's going to provide enough sustain for a Diablo and a Cho'Gall.
You know, the more I think about it, I think they're going Lucio anyway, with both the Diablo and the Cho'Gall. Okay, Leoric, they almost had to go. Chromie is interesting.
It's great for stopping the channeling. She can poke forever and from very safe range.
Okay, they do go to Ariel. So, Chromie is actually a secretly fantastic pick. They perhaps could have predicted that the Ariel was coming. So if they went to Lucio, Chromie would not have been as good. But against the Ariel, Chromie's fantastic. Not necessarily because of the punishing the lack of cleanse, because obviously they have a Rhaegar for the cleanse, but the Cho'Gall sustain fighting with the Ariel relies heavily on them being in a fight, while Chromie's whole thing is like being out of the fight and poking from afar. Which really kind of hurts Ariels. Now, they've got 4 frontliners, so that's not necessarily how they're going to fight it, but you know, Chromie's just going to be able to continue to pummel the healers throughout this. Now, they're going to have to be careful, though, on how they do this. You know, one nice thing is they've got the Thrall already on the table, who has some pretty nice... he doesn't get Giant Killer anymore, but he has talent builds that are very Giant Killer-centric. There's one in particular, I think it's his... Oh, I haven't played enough Thrall recently, but it's kind of like a Taste for Blood-esque talent, where he takes it and... it gets a slow overtime heal based off of the amount of damage he deals. That's going to be massive. Like, you do Taste for Blood equivalent on either Diablo or Cho'Gall, and he's going to be getting a lot of heals and do a lot of damage. And I think it's a pretty big percentage chunk, too.
So this time Stitches is going Slam build.
Yeah, they've got so much sturdy frontline that he can afford to.
Interesting Thrall's level 1 talent. He's actually not going for the quest talent. It's the one that you usually see Thralls take now. Instead going for the sustain. I guess he's expecting long fights in the top lane.
And Small Cat Heroes getting a lot of siege damage here down bot, nearly getting a tower, half the wall. It'll be interesting to see the new Chromie, whom is quite different in the way that she stacks throughout the game. So this Chromie, since we should bring it up, oh my goodness, already the Cho'Gall's E's do so much damage.
Diablo in trouble at top. Yep. Full follow up with the wolf from Thrall, and that is enough damage.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You love to get solo lane.
And This
ganks.
forces Rhaegar to have to come all the way up so as to not to miss all of that soak.
Oh, but what I was saying was that Chromie gains a lot of power throughout the game by hitting her Qs. So the ability to hit these skill shots is extremely important in terms of her game scaling, because she wants to hit that 80 stacks, I think it is, as quickly as possible. You just see kind of Diablo stitches mid. So they're going to invest the Cho'Gall Ariel down to the bot. Well, it looks like they're just kind of delaying the top left while they get their own top right. And they're also delaying bottom too with the Chromie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think they've bought their team enough time to get the top two bell towers.
That was beautiful zoning too by the side of Tryhard Titans to get that top left. But the Thrall and the Stitches were able to zone out each of their targets quite well. Oh, that was very nice on the side of the Chromie. Whom we can actually follow. She's at 16 stacks right now.
Okay, Thrall did invest in the Frostwolf Pack Quest talent. He needs to get all of those without dying to get full value from that. And
also quite important, without missing. Which is huge. Oh, quite a lot of damage going down on the Cho'Gall there. This Chromie is certainly dishing out the damage and keeping it coming. But this Ariel heal is just too much, and Leoric is getting so low, is probably even going to go down. But no, makes it out yet again.
Just a sliver.
This is the third time in the series where I can hardly even see his health bar, and he makes it out.
If I'm Cho'Gall, I'm feeling cheated in life.
I know, like, he truly is treating death this game. Cho'Gall going deep, getting the Uther kill, but on the wrong side of this tower right here. He is a Cho'Gall, he can tank a lot, and it looks like he's just going to tank it and go for the kill on that. They're not able to punish him.
They're also losing Thrall top lane.
Rhaegar with the finishing bite to kill off the
It's tough to run away from a Rhaegar between his instant mount and slows.
And that's unfortunate timing because Thrall's not going to be able to get here in time to participate in this. They're going to be down a man, down a Palantir. They almost don't want to engage in this, especially as aggressively as they are, but it looks like they're going to try and find an advantageous pick spot. And the Diablo is taking a lot of damage.
He's so fat.
And despite being down a man and a Palantir, Diablo goes down. No towers grabbed yet. Cho'Gall getting low. Although Uther's getting quite low as well. Chromie is almost out of mana though. Rhaegar does channel bot. But it looks like they're going to be able to zone off enough to grab mid before the Cho'Gall is able to bully his way in. Although it might be at the cost of and it is at the cost of the Stitch's life, and now they're just in full retreat. This Chromie has been pretty on top of her Qs.
I thought they were going to go for the camp. I love this choice of once you get the value.
Coming from behind.
Oof, that's rough. Once you get the value of getting the bottom keep, going up and then taking both of these camps and just escorting those camps in for free shots.
I agree. I mean, one of the huge kind of ways you run this map is by just controlling the bot lane. Winning over both towers and just constantly capping the siege camps. Because that puts constant core pressure on the opposing team. That then gives you the ability to freely soak the other lanes. You have less to lose and all the pressure to put.
It's also great for taking right before objective pops up, as it forces the other team to not be present for those bell tower fights and have to go deal with them.
Oh no, and he hooks a minion into
Stitches
the...
delivers the shot.
Yes! Stitches handing over a shot to the other team. That's unfortunate. That's not what you want to see. Meantime, Thrall's getting quite a lot of pressure top. This is what I was talking about. You know, they put so much pressure that they have to respond to you down bot. You're in a fantastic position to put the pressure because you're at an advantageous siege position and you get to then control the map elsewhere as you wish. Quest update before we go into this. 4 consistent stacks on the Frostwolf and Chromie's at 42, which is actually a pretty nice level to be at this point. Oh, the pull on the Stitches. I don't think he's getting out of this one.
No, he's not. I will say though, for having both Cho'Gall ultis blown, only getting 1 kill is pretty lucky.
It is rough.
That could have gone a lot worse. They really don't want to contest this right now. They're playing down 10. They're playing down both of their tanks. They just want to let this go and try to get that bottom bell tower back.
Now it looks like the Chromie's poking. She's in a very dangerous position though to do so. With the Diablo up there.
Oh
yeah, she's not making it out of this. Hopefully the bleeding has stopped now for Tryhard Titans. Now again, they're definitely not out of this. They
don't even have their 10s yet. 10s changed the game.
Exactly. One thing that's scary though is that the Cho'Gall, as we were talking about in game 1 with his questing tones, he really does scale hard. And it looks like his E is hitting quite a lot of people. Oh, and that beautiful... The Ariel stuns in this game have been fantastic. She's been on point with all of them.
Well, she's able to play so aggressive with her positioning, as you'll notice she's constantly at full hope. Just constantly. This Cho'Gall pumping out so much hope generation for her.
Yeah.
Stitches did take Gorge. I'm kind of surprised to see Earthquake taken by Thrall. I feel that they needed to really CC chain the enemy team to get a kill here.
Yeah. His Frostwolf got reset at some point. Chromie's currently at 47 stacks on her Q quest. Tryhard Titans is trying to recapture bot. It looks like that's going to be uncontested and they'll be able to get that. That's big. They really want to get that one. Meanwhile, a lot of pressure, heavy pressure is going down mid. They're investing the whole team now down into it. Looks like they're going to try and get it. But Tryhard Titans is rotating up, and they're not going to let this go for free. Chromie landing all of her abilities down on the Diablo. Q's coming out, hitting the Cho'Gall. A lot of...
Gorged? Oh, almost.
Yes,
no,
a beautiful
rejected.
Aegis into APOC response to the hook. And that's kind of the counter momentum ults that they need. But the Gorge on the Ariel, Ancestral does not hit. Yes, and they're able to get a kill off of that.
And they do take the keep.
Yeah, it's just in time, the kill is. Oh, but they're going to get the Leo kill there. It looks like Uther's going to go down, and they are not able to capitalize off of the early Ariel pick. However, it looks like Thrall is going to get a very bold capture, but there is no way he's going to survive this. His quest is going to get reset, and that looks like it's going to be a death. But it did garner them some valuable both time and shots, allowing Leo to respawn, although Chromie is going down. It looked like she was going down. She did go down. Stitches with the hook, which brought Cho'Gall to him to finish him off, unfortunately. The Ancestral, making sure Cho'Gall survives, gets out of there, and Small Cat Heroes leaves with a tower and a 2-level lead. Looks like they're turning on boss to capitalize on that lead as well.
This is one of those games where it can feel like you're down just because of the kind of pressure that's been put on you, but if you look at the the real score, it's only 20-26. They're still very much in this game.
Yeah, and that's all that matters here. And if we saw anything in Game 2, Tryhard Titans is not going to give up to the end, which is great. This is Game 3. As we were saying earlier, both teams' tournament lives are on the line right here. Whoever wins continues on.
Living up to the name.
Tryhard Titans. Yes. Pulling the Diablo back in. The counter aggression, APOC, the Cho'Gall with a really nice pull to try and pull people off of the Diablo. However,
Ariel
ends
also
up with a
going
kill
down.
on him, and the Cho'Gall Ariel both going down. Triple kill. Let's see what they can do this with 3 down. They really need to take advantage of this now. Try and get, back in this game, regain their level lead or their, the levels that they're behind. It looks like they're going to try and push for top. That's great. The only problem is Rhaegar got bought in the process and has
And there's a camp pushing in.
camps pushing in. Yeah. So they need to get this. They need to get it in a hurry. They really want this because we're now going to triple Shrine phase, and it looks like they're not going to be able to get it. That's unfortunate. And
It
Cho'Gall's
is
gonna be back
heartbreaking.
up.
Heartbreaking to win a team fight like that, and then shrines don't come up until after the entire enemy team is respawned.
Yeah. So, also unfortunate for them is the fact that Small Cat Heroes is about to hit level 16 at a very advantageous moment. It looks like they're going to try and they're going to give one shrine, capture theirs, or they're going to give both shrines, capture theirs. I would not have gone into this. After that, I would have backed out, make sure I get to 16, and disengage. Which looks like they're trying to. Divine
such a
Shield
huge
on the
talent here.
Thrall gets him out of there, and it looks like they're. It seems like they're in indecision as to whether they should be disengaging or engaging. They've kind of full disengaged. The Thrall's going top to camp. They're going to 4-man defend, which I think is smart.
Pull just barely misses.
Current updates, Thrall's quest is at 0 and Chromie's quest is complete, so that is huge. That gives her both a lot of extra damage.
Oh, Thrall's in trouble.
She also... Oh, he's going to cap the camp just in time, but is he going to die in the process? Oh, Earthquake, just to make sure he gets out. That's a 100-second cooldown. It did save his life, but that hurts. That hurts a lot. When you only have 6 life on the core, next team fight is huge. You don't want that. But we have a gorged Ariel, but a beautiful pull to bring her back to him. But Cho'Gall and Ariel are kind of in no man's land here, and their team is going to have to come in for the save pretty quickly. Another pull on the Ariel, but the Ancestral hits just in time. Counter dive from the Diablo. Stitch is getting pulled out. Overpowered flip to push him back into the team. And they're going to get the kill and this altar at a very bad time, too, because that's going to give them 5 altars with only 6 health on the core for the side of Tryhard Titans.
Yeah, I think the Stitches needs to be trying to gorge the Cho'Gall and pulling him into the tower shot area. Cho'Gall has been doing a fantastic job of just pulling whoever Stitches, or just pulling the Stitches whenever he gorges one of their teammates.
Oh, this is bad. This is really bad. So this is game if they don't stop it. Okay, they've denied it once. Can they get the second deny? Thrall's going in for it. They're able to get the second deny. They're having to dive hard though, and they have to win this team fight as well. Divine Shield on the Chromie. She's still alive somehow. She hasn't died yet. Thrall's chasing after the Rhaegar. If they can get the Rhaegar kill, that'd be huge. Chromie's going to go down. Ariel's getting low, but is able to get the hit. She's been cleansed to make sure she gets out. It's not slowed by any of the ults or the slows by the side of the Leoric. Uther's getting really low. If he dies, it's not the end of the world because he's got the heals still. However, they just have Stitches now, and this is going to be game with this. And this is going to be a win on the side of Small Cat Heroes. And that's going to be series. That'll be Small Cat Heroes heading into the playoffs for the Thursday night Div.2.
Cho'Gall looking very powerful this series.
Yeah, GG's to both teams, and clearly Small Cat Heroes are quite fond of their Cho'Gall. Busting them out twice and getting 2 wins. Small Cat Heroes wins.
Look at these stats. Leoric did lead this time. Looks like the game did not quite go long enough for Chromie to get a ton of value. Surprisingly, though, taking a look, I'm seeing Cho actually putting up some pretty massive numbers. Cho is not usually seen as the damage dealer of that duo, but putting up about 60k damage is pretty major.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Um, and it was like we were saying. I wonder if we can see in the post screen. We can't see how hard the stacking went. But as they got an early lead, which that plus how hard that the Cho'Gall scales in skirmishing maps like this just kind of spelled disaster for the side of Tryhard Titans. But I have to give it to them. They really put in quite a series, because I think one of the hardest things to do in the game is to sit there when you're down, especially down as much as they were, as much as with how down they were in game 2, to pull out a win there requires a certain mentality that's hard to come by.
Absolutely.
So, it hurts to lose in a single elimination scenario. But I think for their last game of the season, they put out a really, solid showing. I know, if we go out, those are similar kind of performances that I like for us to put out. Ones where it's like I can feel good at the end of it. I think we put out a good performance, and I think they did. And what I liked also is they were busting out some new things. They were flexing a new meta. We saw the Leo, we saw the new Chromie, we saw the new Jaina. They clearly put in a lot of work. They've put in a lot of practice in the past 2 days into these new heroes. And the Chromie looked very good. She finished the quest quite earlier than I've seen a lot of people finishing it. So that was fantastic.
Well, I also got to give props to the Crooks on Uther. I mean, Uther as a solo healer versus double healer. I mean, if you check the numbers, he still put up 46k, which is, I think, fantastic for a double nerfed Uther to throw up there, considering what he had to deal with.
Yeah, 46k. He was keeping pretty closely in line with the Ariel heals, which, when you consider that's an Ariel with like a Hope Battery of a Cho'Gall, that's pretty much the highest heals you can bring out in the game. So I am, I was also quite impressed with that. And I have to say, there at that last fight too, the one that like kind of decided the last shrine, that was a desperate moment, and their ability to kind of push through that fight for as long as they did with how much of a disadvantage they were at.
They were also, and that was a 4v5 brawl too. Stitches had still recently died and was still running from base.
Yeah,
I think it was a fantastic effort, all the way to the end.
Yeah, no, it was really well put together. One thing that hurt, we were looking at the Thrall talents. That level 4 talent, when it hits, is really impactful. It provides a lot of cooldown reduction. The mana reduction is also nice, but the 50% cooldown reduction on that W is really impactful, especially if you build into it in later talents, which he didn't. He went into his Wind Fury. But
well, the thing that I was left puzzled looking at, Ancestral Wrath, is a talent I've not spent any time thinking about, but I was reading through it. 15% of max health versus a Cho'Gall. See if you get some value there, maybe.
That is the one I was talking about. It is a crazy talent.
And then the second part, healing Thrall for 150% of the damage dealt. Well, let's just make Thrall a support hero, man. There you go. Back to full.
Yeah, no, I mean, his sustain would be through the roof with that. Like, having the Thrall on the table before the Cho'Gall even showed up was great. I mean, because that is a really impactful hit. And that's one reason why I thought, had the level 4 quest hit. I think there's a Wolf talent later that gives you more stacks on your Frostwolf Resilience, which is what builds into your ability to use the Ancestral Wrath, because you have to build stacks to then be able to activate it. So the level 4 talent really would have, if he was able to get it, kind of synergized well into it. But I thought it was a really smart pick, because once the Diablo hit, they kind of had an idea of where the other team was going. I have to give a lot of kudos, kind of now switching to our winners, Small Cat Heroes, to the way they drafted, especially that last game. kind of showing the composition that they ran last time with the Diablo, saying, hey, we showed this composition last time. We're showing hints of it again, and then just completely flipping when they were least expecting it into the Cho'Gall.
Absolutely.
Tryhard Titans was kind of hovering over the Ariel at first for the first ban, and I imagine they're really regretting not putting in the first ban Ariel now. Yeah, no, I mean,
Diablo got a lot of value with the Cho'Gall, pick. I don't generally think of Diablo as a tank that goes with Cho'Gall, but his follow-up for every upheaval that was run was amazing. Cho would just pull the enemy team in, and then Diablo would push them even further back. And the level of what's the word? Piemaker. Displacement that those two abilities together were able to achieve. I mean, Stitches was just... There was nothing that Archeesy could do to deal with that.
Yeah. And I like having a second kind of heavy tank presence with Cho'Galls because they don't bring a lot of bodies, and if you're solo tanking Cho'Gall, it's actually really hard, and I don't think a lot of teams realize that, and they'll run a solo tank Cho'Gall, and it really creates a lot of issues, so I do like that they brought in that second bruiser. But I do want to finish up and wrap us up because we have a lot of exciting Chairleague matches going on tonight. I want everyone to have a chance to kind of rotate over. And in fact, I want to catch some of them. I'm going to, in fact, be switching to hosting the Bang Bang versus RK Red match that's ongoing right now. So I'll be sending out that host after we finish up here because I've got to host Reward Nights as kind of my homer pick. But these were great games tonight. Congratulations to Small Cat Heroes on the win. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm going to be trying to cast several of the playoff matches. Once they all get set up, I need to kind of see our schedule and everything first before I set that up. But if you liked it, definitely feel free to follow. Feel free to follow and tune in for future matches that we'll be casting. And I will be sending you over now to the Bang Bang versus RK Red match hosted by one Mega Man fan. Is there any shout-outs you wanted to do, Crafty?
To the players in this game?
Or just, any final remarks?
Only other thing I could think of is I did have a question actually. Ancestral's throne and Aegis to follow. Will that Ancestral disappear, or will that go ahead and pass through even while Aegis?
I don't know. I think the Ancestral disappears because unlike Medivh's shields, the Aegis is more like a Medivh leyline than it is like a Medivh shield, which you can't Ancestral into a leylined hero. But that would never be a thing because you can only leyline opposing team members. But if one of your so you can't Ancestral a leylined hero, but you can Ancestral a protected hero, like a shielded hero. And since that puts someone in a stasis, you can't Ancestral stasis people. Now, if it's already going down beforehand, I actually don't know what happens with that. I believe it puts it on the 10-second cooldown.
Well, then I gotta give it to the Ariel and Rhaegar synergy for not once messing that up.
Yeah, you see a lot of anti-synergy with teams sometimes, so that must have been practiced and it was well executed, especially they with the Rhaegar knowing it was on the follow-up to the draft, so I liked that a lot.
Well done.
Yep. Okay, we are sending you over to the Bang Bang versus RK Red match. Thank y'all for hanging out with us.